Do you have challenges getting others to follow your lead? At some point or the other, I can bet that someone had a challenge leading a team, a project, or even a department. But the real question is, when utilizing a particular leadership style, were you true to yourself? Fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening. Tonight, I will unpack leadership styles in which I have explored over time, coupled with the impact it had on myself and others. Having completed a survey on Toastmasters International, it was revealed that my strongest leadership style was that of a democratic leader. It was also confirmed that my weakest style was that of the autocratic leader. Had I taken this survey some 16 years earlier, I would have argued that the results were inaccurate. You see, I was trained under the rigid leadership of the late Cleopas Adderley. So naturally, I would want to impersonate the autocratic leadership style. After all, it was all I knew, and it only made sense to apply this style because my mentor produced exceptional results. As you may know, the autocratic leadership style typically takes on the choices based on their own ideas and their own judgment. Rarely do they accept advice from their followers. Hence, I rejected, can you hear me? Hence, yeah. I rejected the input from those I led. Can I take you to church? Let's go. Many moons ago, I held the responsibility of ensuring that the outer line knew their parts. So what did this look like? These grown women who were 15 years my senior, were instructed to send me voice notes every Wednesday at 1900 hours. Needless to say, they were not compliant, and I was most offended. Can you say tension in the sanctuary? Not only did I fail at getting the results I desired, I was deemed as the unsaved, bossy dictator who did not trust their team to deliver. Unfazed, the saga continued from the church to the workplace. During my first few years as a generalist teacher, I became Fidel Castro in the classroom. The rules were the rules. The deadline was the deadline. So, if Chanel with one L did not turn in a class assignment by 3 p.m., points were deducted. If Tevin had submitted his homework a day later, he would chance getting a 0. This approach was somewhat effective because, well, they submitted their work on time and they produced excellent grades. I'd have to admit, though, that constantly using this leadership style was damaging. Needless to say, when 3 o'clock came, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, those students dashed out of the classroom like a stampede of horses. So much for free afternoon classes. My students found me unapproachable. They were afraid of me. I particularly felt the impact during Teachers Appreciation Week. You see, when I entered the doors, I was surprised because my table was beautifully decorated, filled with invisible gifts. Me, of all teachers who worked so very hard, why was I the teacher who didn't receive any gifts? I received nothing, nada. To the students and parents, I must have been the teacher from hell. Reality check. The autocratic leadership style that Mr. Adley used was not working in my favor. Lord knows I meant well, but I grew tired of operating under the disguise of someone I was not. To thine own self, I had to be true. So given those dynamics, I made a 100-degree turn and I naturally adjusted to the democratic leadership style, which suited my personality while maintaining high standards and values. Can somebody shout amen?
Amen.
Hey, the democratic leadership style married so well with my teaching philosophy of having a student-centered class. No longer did I stifle the inventiveness of students or push information down their throats. But my class culture was one where students were allowed the freedom to establish rules, consequences, and rewards. No longer did my students hesitate to bring their concerns forth to me. They were comfortable to be themselves. They loved learning. That year, my students were coming to my afternoon classes, and other students joined them as well on weekdays and on Saturdays. Can someone say overflow? Type it in the chat, overflow. When Teachers Appreciation rolled in that year, there was an overflow of tangible gifts. Chocolate, fruit baskets, Dolce & Gabbana. Well, that was a knockoff. But the point was, my students, they were receiving my teaching, learning styles, and it was excellent. It was giving a positive impact. Even better, one student penned the words, best teacher in the world. Alas, that one student definitely made me feel like I was headed in the right direction. Later that year, I became the teacher of the year at Sadie Curtis Primary School. In the words of Maxwell, and I quote, leaders become great not because of their power, but their ability to empower others, end quote. As I transitioned into the role of school administrator, I found the democratic leadership style to be most effective. There is much cooperation and productivity from the staff as they are empowered to share and execute their ideas. Have I totally abandoned the autocratic leader? Of course not. According to Harvard Business Review article, the same leadership style will not work in all circumstances. Sometimes it makes more sense to tell people what to do. Consequently, there are times when I have to switch gears into the autocratic leader for my staff members, particularly those ones who think that I'm a pushover. Teachers are given specific timelines to submit their lesson plans, forecast notes, and grades for different subject areas. So ladies and gents, whether you are the servant leader who is humble and protective, the pace setter who sets the standards, or the bureaucratic key decision maker, ask yourself whether you are being effective. Query whether you are reaping the results you desire. And if not, encourage yourself to regroup, switch gears to the leadership style that garners favorable results. I dare you to dream big, yes. Follow the leadership style that allows you to be who you are. To thine own self, be true. Mr. Chairman.